Let's clean up that nasty intake and port it for some power. Woo! Well, it's time to take this manifold apart. Part of filming this will help me put it back together, but we're also going to clean it up. We're going to get out all that oil, carbon buildup, and we're also going to see what we can do about port matching this intake manifold and opening up the intake port for the throttle body. This is part of the cooling going to the throttle body here. I have a new one. And this one is very brittle. I don't know if you can hear that, but this thing is garbage. Here's our map sensor. I'm gonna set all this stuff aside. Look at that. Look at that oil. I have to clean this thing again. So here's the part of the intake that controls the runner length. As you can see, it blocks or allows the air at a certain extent, just kind of allowing it to change from either a straight shot or going all the way around into the intake. Pretty cool, pretty cool. There it is. And look at all that oil. Look at that. So we got to clean this thing up. I don't know if you can see that, but this thing, it's got oil all in it. And you can see the runners there. Pretty cool. Now that the intake is apart, I've got it just kind of sitting in a bath of simple green, and it's a very diluted bath of simple green. And I've got a 1/3 to water mix to really kind of get at those carbon deposits and dirt and grease buildups inside this intake. So let's go ahead and do this and clean this thing up. Well, we're getting there. This thing is looking pretty clean. A little bit in between these somewhat nylon piston rings that I just need to kind of clean out. Aside from that, it's looking pretty good. This water here is looking horrendous, so I need to dump that out. The intake is looking much better. I've been using a combination of this baby bottle brush and a t-shirt. This is one of the last passes I did, but it's coming out cleaner and cleaner. I'm not feeling any real residue anymore. I think the further I can get down inside of there, the better off I'll be. The only issue is getting all the way around that. So I'm only going to be able to get so far into this intake, but we'll get as clean as we can. And I've been letting some of this just soak in there. Let it do its work for those spots that I can't reach. And it is very hard to get liquid out of this thing because of its design. Very barrel shaped, and kind of have to roll it and twist it all kinds of ways just to get stuff out, but the water is coming out much cleaner. The manifold is all dry. Now let's take a look at and see what we can do exactly porting wise to kind of help this thing flow a little better. I'm not seeing a whole lot that can be done, but there's a handful of things. Let's check it out. I'm thinking right here, because stock it naturally comes with the long nozzle, so what I'm thinking about doing is kind of shaving this down a little bit, giving it a better chance to mix the fuel and the air. And I did take a dry erase marker, and you can see where we can take some of the meat off of the intake here, but I'm not going to get too crazy with it because I want it to still be able to hold this gasket pretty well. You can see the thickness here. I'll probably get it pretty close to that outer thickness and just kind of open it up just a little bit. On the throttle body side, you can see some casting lines. There's these couple bumps in there, and then my bung that I put in there, I think I'm just going to smooth that out. And that first wall of the casting, you can kind of see it there, but it steps all the way down in there. I'm not going to be able to reach all of those. You can kind of see it where it's glaring down in there. I'm going to try and smooth that out the best that I can, and I think that's going to be about it for this intake manifold, because unlike the 1.4 liter, it doesn't have those tumble walls to it. So it's just a matter of just kind of opening it up a little bit and then blending it. All right, so here is the first port done. Opened it up just a little bit, cleared this back just a touch, just blended it all in. You can see the difference. Let me go over to this port so I'm not in the way of the light. We opened it up just a little bit, kind of blended it in. Took some of this floor off that's down here. It's got a little hump. Just smooth that out. So I'm going to move on to these other ports. Well, the intake is all clean, all back together. I put as much back together as I possibly can with it out of the car. But we got our new line on here. Here's the old one here. It does look like that little tip broke off, so I'm gonna have to figure out where the hell that thing went. Where's that? I'm just going to be careful when I put this thing away, not to damage that. You kind of need a placeholder because it's been sitting in this big box. That will definitely take up less space. Got a new EGR valve. This tubing is still good, just cleaned it up a little bit. But the main thing is the porting. You can see I smoothed out that fitting right there. It's still in there nice and sturdy. Opened it up just a little bit, just kind of blended it in. Might be hard to see, but I tried to get that little wall down there. You can see that second little bump down in there. I got rid of the first one. I just couldn't reach down in there to get that second one. Here's what the ports look like after a little bit of work. You can see I opened this up. It's definitely more open, that's for sure. And I kind of cleared this back a little bit so the fuel injectors will be able to have more of a direct shot inside of the chamber. So it's looking pretty good. I should help it flow a little better. It is still slightly smaller than the intake port, but that's fine. Again, I'd rather this be a little smaller than it be bigger than the head and create some sort of impedance. Now that this thing is nice and clean, I'm going to put it inside a plastic bag and tuck it away until we're ready to put it on the engine. One of my subscribers, or someone that's just kind of following this build that is doing a 1.8 as well, did happen to find a 1.6 cast aluminum manifold, which I think might be a great alternative. However, I already put in the work on this intake manifold, and I'm going to see what it can do, and then maybe down the road we'll give that a try. I'll leave a link down in eBay, an eBay link to what he provided. They seem to be pretty hard to find. However, it might be a cool option to kind of set everything up turbo wise like the 1.4 rather than the intake coming from the right hand side like mine's set up. It would be more set up like the 1.4, which I think is pretty damn cool. However, I'm gonna roll with what I got and we might change things up in the future. We'll see. This is all experimental. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Peace out. Did you hear that?